If you want to hear how I plan to make 150K at 22 years old, then stay till the end. There are really like three pillars that define how I'm looking at my goals for 2026. Number one is my health. For me, I've always had a pattern of putting work above my health and felt like it was time for a change this year. And I was really unhappy with where I was in my running progress and things like that. So I really decided this was going to be the time that I prioritized my health. And honestly, that shouldn't have been something that took me so long to realize, being that health is really the foundation of our lives. Like, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. Something really clicked for me in about the fall of 2025, and I decided to start taking it seriously. So the first thing that I did, because I'm such a action-oriented person, was setting a tangible goal. I like having something I can measure myself by. You know, it's either you did it or you didn't. And for me, I love running, and I've always loved running. And for me, one of my lifelong goals is to run a marathon. So my goal for 2026 is to shave time off of my 5K and run it in sub 30. To do that, there are four, this is kind of a framework that I live by now in terms of health, and that's like a peak performance athlete framework, which is how athletes look at their training or how their coaches design their training. You know, me and ChatGPT went at it and designed my training in the exact same way. And you really have four main pillars, and that's sleep, hydration, nutrition, and exercise. For me, right off the bat, I knew sleep was my constraint. It was my weakness. Sleep has always been something that I've really struggled with from when I was like in middle school, high school. I've tried, different medications, melatonin. I've tried other natural substances. And, now I have a good routine that works for me. The only thing I take is magnesium. Prioritizing recovery in general, not just my sleep, because sleep is obviously the main part of your recovery, but prioritizing having 2 hours in my day where I'm not focused on work. It doesn't always end up being 2 hours, sometimes just 30 minutes, but even just a bit of time where I can watch TV or play a video game, those are not things I used to do before. So for me, having this sort of dialed morning routine, sleep routine has completely changed my, I guess they call it like sleep hygiene, sleep routine, whatever, my recovery. And I also bought an Aura ring. I bought that. That was probably the first thing I did. It actually goes into my next point too, which is, put your money where your mouth is. And for me, I have access to funds. So me not using it to invest in my health was a clear demonstration that I'm not actually prioritizing my health. So first step, in my opinion, with where I am in life was to invest in my health, whether that's time, whether that's money. That's what I decided to do. So first thing I did was buy the Aura ring because I was really interested in my sleep and seeing where it's at so I'd know how to improve it. Again, I'm very data driven. I'm very of action oriented. I need to know, but in order to create those tasks, to know where you need to go and what you need to do, you need to know where you're at. And that requires tracking the data. And I've tried sleep apps before. I had an Apple Watch for a time and things like that, but this ring gives you some crazy data. So I really dove into that. I bought it in like September 2025. And it was kind of one of the first big things. It was when I hit my first 10K month, actually. It was like the thing I bought for myself. For a long time, I thought it was going to be like a nice watch because I love watches. But I decided to buy the Aura ring because I really needed to prove to myself that I was going to be the person and continue to be the person that I said I was going to be. So I bought the Aura ring, prioritized my sleep. For me, I really knew hydration was dialed. I drink my electrolytes in the morning and like 4 liters of water a day, sometimes 2 to 4. I got a liter size water bottle. Oh, it's right here. I got this banger purple water bottle. It's a liter and I love it. It's kind of heavy to like put in the car with you because it's so fat, but hydration's definitely dialed. Nutrition and exercise were my next two. That's when I decided to hire a fitness coach. And Megan is amazing. We connect really well because she's a similar age, a little bit older than me. She also lives in Toronto and she's also a business owner, an online business owner. So we get along really well. But with Megan, I was so ready to pay her. Like, I knew I was going to hire her like a week before I actually did. But the first month or so, I did not act. I was honestly complacent in a lot of areas of life, not just with fitness, not just with health. I was too comfortable. And that's a phase that, happens to everyone, but really the key is not letting it last too long. Anyway, so it took probably 3 weeks of us working together before I ever got in the gym. What I did do during that time was dial in my nutrition. So that was a huge breaking point for me. I meal prep now every Sunday, like it's clockwork. I know what I'm going to eat. I know how it balances my macro goals. I know how my nutrition fuels my training. It's this whole system that I'm really proud of. So that was really why and how I decided to tackle that first point. So my goal is the sub 30 5K, but I had to do all these things and go through all of these things to get to that point, to even set that goal and understand how I could attack it. So basically right now I'm lifting twice a week, running twice a week. 1 long run, 1 easy run, and 2 full body lifts. So that's where I'm at. Pillar number 2 is it's about leadership, but it's really about serving. I got this point actually from a mentor of mine, and he brought up something I never really heard of before, which is becoming a servant leader. And that really means you lead by serving and serving well, but caring about what people actually need and what they actually want and how you can help them get there. And so this is huge, obviously, in sales, right? You're helping them cross that bridge, make a decision that ultimately, if you're an ethical salesperson, should be what's best for them. Not just what you think is best for them, but what they want to help get them to their goal that they've explicitly set. But the way I'm dialing this in is in my client success system, really focusing on my clients, what they need, what their specific goals are, where their specific bottlenecks, especially, there's a lot of commonalities, but sometimes it's specific to each person. I have one client that wants to stack up 20 songs before he drops. That's super fun for me, but definitely a different situation than somebody who wants to drop, that regularly drops 12, 15 songs a year, and we're just making another one, right? So really meeting people where they're at, and I think that applies to many different areas of life, and leadership is something that I'm stepping into more and more, specifically with client success. That is what's important to me, is making sure my clients are served well, and a lot of it has to do with my upbringing, and not good parts of it. Actually, there's a really interesting quote about reputation. I actually wrote it down here. So Warren Buffett famously quoted, "It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it." I ruined my reputation very quickly in high school. I was a bit of a off-kilter child, let's say, but I had a really positive reputation because my family was very tied to the community. My sister went to the same school. She was a golden child. And I got to high school and I was no longer a golden child. Even though I still had great grades, I was still very involved in the school, my reputation went down very quickly. So at this time when I was getting suspended and all of these things, one of my mentors said to me, "This is more than just a suspension, it's my reputation." And I was like, I don't care. I don't care what they think of me. I was so against the system and all of these things. But now the stakes are higher. This is different. This is my personal brand. This is my business. And that matters a lot more to me than what some privileged kids think about me. That's how this sort of seed was planted. But being a servant leader is about more than who you can impact. It's about being the person that you said you would be. And a lot of it to me is about following through on the things that I said I was going to do and that I still want to do. There's a fine line between sticking to the plan because it's the right thing to do and sticking to the plan because you don't know anything else. I hope I'm sticking to the plan because it's the right thing to do. And so that's how I want to be a servant leader and prioritize my clients, meet them where they're at, and just continue to serve and improve my processes. Into my last pillar, this is more about what I'm doing right now, filming a YouTube video. And I've never filmed one like this ever. So this is a whole new process for me. I was scared to do this 30 minutes ago. I had to convince myself that this was the right thing to do, and this was the only time I had in my week to do it. So if you know the Hormozis, business icons, they have a scaling framework where the level 2 of scale is advertise, and that's kind of where I'm at now in business. And so for me, now that I've got most of my systems unlocked, and even though I'm always going to be improving those, that's not my constraint anymore. My constraint isn't being able to finish a project. My constraint is not having enough eyeballs on me. And so from here, my goal for 2026 is scaling ads and content. And that's why I'm going from posting, I don't even know how many videos last year, less than 200 probably, to 365 this year, one a day at least, and 20 YouTube videos, mostly in this style, I'm thinking, and just getting myself more comfortable in front of the camera, improving my storytelling, improving my documentation skills. And this is the foundation. This is the foundation for the personal brand I want to build, but it's also how I bring in leads for my business in some respects, how I nurture my audience, those things, how I'm building my career in general, which is more than just business. So those are my goals. And so kind of you may have seen a theme here between my health, serving and being a leader, and advertising in this content. And it's really just, this is the year of getting uncomfortable. Honestly, like I said, in the fall, I was way too comfortable. I had hit 10K a month, was 21, September 2025, and I just plateaued. And a lot of it was mental. I just was like, cool, I hit the goal. and I didn't have a next goal to reach to. And right now, you know, most people in business would think, hey, you go to 10K a month, you go to 20K a month. But that's not actually my goal. My goals are much bigger than that. My goals involve building a team and having content systems, enjoying my life, traveling more, playing video games, seeing my family, seeing my friends, and other, you know, obviously the content and the brand is really important to me, but a lot of that is going to be shifts to being more documentative content, more reflective content, things like this. And so far I'm enjoying it. This is my first video and I'm enjoying it. So we'll see how it goes. But if you stayed till the end, thank you so much for watching and I will see you soon.